Welcome back, everybody. Super excited to be joined by AE today. This is one of our HashPack kind of community showcases in the Hedera ecosystem. So, huge shout out to HashPack. We're going to be diving into one of the newer builders and innovators shaping the future of the Hedera ecosystem. Um, a quick reminder for our listeners: content discussed in any of these episodes is for informational, educational purposes only, doesn't constitute financial advice. Always do your own due diligence. But again, super excited to be joined by AE today, the creative WebPunk social platform launching on Hedera like imminently. Talking like tomorrow is a huge day for these guys. So we're going to be discussing what makes their vision unique, the use of Hedera, and what users can expect. So again, thank you to HashPack and welcome Kuzi to the show. I want to kick this off. Um, the vision and launch. So AE is launching as a WebPunk social platform. How would you explain the value proposition to somebody unfamiliar with Web3 or Hedera?
Okay, so one of the main things that we're doing, one of the main the revenue streams will be the usernames. How it's different from other social media platforms, Web2 social media platforms, is that okay, let's say for example on X, if you were to get a username, if someone were to get a username and they stop using the platform, and that username will be stuck. And same thing on Instagram and other platforms. If so, on our platform, all of these usernames are tokenized. They're in an NFT form, so you can register a username for 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, and then if you stop using the platform, the username will expire and become available to the next person. Other than that, all of the digital items that we're gonna have in the game will be NFTs. We're gonna have the marketplace function in the upcoming months.
Awesome. So I have to ask you about the aesthetic here and kind of the design, because I think for me, I've seen a lot of different projects in crypto over the years. I actually really dig the visuals here. I was telling you before we hit record, like, and I would love your. I mean, I'm super excited because I know this is kind of in your wheelhouse here, but this kind of reminded me of like a mixture between like Coraline mixed with like Alice in Wonderland mixed with like some cyberpunky type elements. But I think it's really cool. I would love if you could tell us a little bit about the visual aesthetic that we're looking at here.
So I'm into design myself. Like I really focus on the design and art aspect of the platform rather than like so much of the technical. And really, like when I'm working with designers and artists, I make sure that they align with this vision that we have. And so there is a specific name for this aesthetic. It's called WebPunk. And to me, what WebPunk is, so if you think of the word cyberpunk, I would say that's futuristic punk, and WebPunk is retro futuristic punk in mixed with early web aesthetics.
I dig it. Yeah, no, and I get that too. Like now that you actually bring that up, I'm kind of looking at like the very analog televisions and the old jeans that I probably was wearing in the 1990s, early 2000s, where I used to like cut the very bottoms of them so they would fray while I'm walking and stuff like that. So super cool. Tell us a little bit about like what are people going to be able to do in the application? Like, is this a social application? I know like the term metaverse that we heard a couple of years ago in crypto, but what's the user experience going to be like?
First of all, I want to talk about the word metaverse, and I think the word metaverse is misused. If you think about our universe, like how these companies describe the metaverse is that like they create some game and they're like, this is a metaverse, but then in reality, metaverse is what we call the whole internet's gaming ecosystem, right? And then each of these companies are actually creating a virtual world. So like, would you call Earth metaverse? I mean, would you call Earth universe? No, like this is like a world inside the big universe. So we are creating a virtual world. You're gonna have your character. You're gonna be able to customize it, meet up with your friends, That meetup function, that multiplayer function will come out in the upcoming months. So right now, tomorrow, you're going to be able to make posts on your feed, be able to message people, mint usernames, and there will still be a demo of the virtual world aspect. And in that world, you can just move around the room and interact with some characters. You can we have this character called Machine Girl throughout the ecosystem. You're going to be able to play chess with her. So just to give the people a quick demo.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm looking at the Machine Girl one right now. So I guess the next question I have is, and I agree with you on the metaverse term. I think is interesting. I think that it was certainly a big marketing term that we heard a few years ago in crypto, and really, I remember two things that stuck out to me. One was a lot of the projects that said that they were building a metaverse just basically launched a game trailer, and the second thing was like, I forget which one it was, but it was the one that had like all the land, and then you would just like buy blocks of land on a 2D map.
Yeah.
But I really do think like you have to really be into the aesthetic to want to participate in something first and foremost. Like, and it'll be interesting to watch how I think what's really interesting about this stuff is like how all of the different technologies are going to start converging. Like, how do social aspects of people's everyday lives, how are they made better by crypto and blockchain and distributed ledger? What makes sense for them to be better? Because like, I think one of the things that we have a misconception about of crypto is that like every single person is just going to become some sort of tech nerd at some point in time. Where I really think crypto wins is like building an app that is like people would just use normally, like in their everyday lives. So I would love if you can maybe tell us a little bit about like monetization strategy from your guys' end. How does AE plan to generate revenue as kind of a company in a way that aligns with Web3 principles, decentralization, user ownership, things like that?
Yeah, so as I mentioned before, there will be usernames in the NFT form, and those are basically like yearly subscriptions that unlock um, unlock different things in the platform rather than just being like a cosmetic display thing. There's that, and then you're going to be able to promote a post. We're calling it amplifying it into the universe. When you create a post, that's going to be an option. And once you do that, if the post is approved, everyone who is using the app will be able to see your post. So it's a bit different than running ads on other social media platforms. They're more like targeted. But this one is, once you amplify the post, you will make sure that everyone sees the post that's using the platform. Since that's the case, it will be a bit limited. Like we can't just post amplify everything. So there's that, and then in the gaming side, there will be digital items that we create, and also that other creators and clothing brands submit. So at first, at launch, we're actually going to be collaborating with a couple people, and for example, like the Tor project will be one of them. We will have Tor branding, Tor branded shirts in the game that your character can wear. And since the marketplace function, the multiplayer function is not there yet, so everyone will be able to wear these clothes and test them out. But once that marketplace function is there, these items will be paid, and the creators will be able to get a share of like their sales. And yeah.
So it's from by Tor, you're talking about, is that, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I'm just trying to remember, some different things of like actual cypherpunk stuff. But Tor is like the onion router stuff, like the privacy
Tor
ecosystem.
browser.
Yeah. So that's cool.
Yeah.
So like, I think that's a huge thing too. Like one of the things that I think is an issue a lot of the times is like we get tied up in these like ecosystem silos and like these echo chambers. Like, so it's cool that you guys are have already kind of
Mhm.
established connections outside of the ecosystem of
Mhm.
kind of Hedera
Yeah,
specific.
like, Tor aligns with this, like, webpunk hacker aesthetic that we're going for. So we definitely want to include, brands and organizations like that. I'm
So,
gonna quickly show you something.
oh,
So,
please,
uh,
yeah.
so I have the demo app on my phone. I'm gonna call Machine Girl. Let's see if she answers. Hey, Machine Girl. I'm doing an interview with Solomon from Genfinity.
Sounds like an interesting place to be involved with. What's the interview about? Are you feeling prepared, or is there anything you'd like to go over together?
The interview is about this app that we're on, AE.
Talking about AE. That's cool. Since AE is all about Web3 and innovation, I'm sure Solomon will be curious about how it's revolutionizing things in the digital world. How do you feel about explaining what AE does during the interview?
Yeah,
That's
it's
super
cool.
cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So like, I see right now, like not only just Machine Girl, but there's a couple of different pages on X. What was the one, like Secret Society? I think was another one. It dropped off from my screen,
So
but like,
okay, the initial idea that I had was AE app was going to be like a super app that has all of these other um side projects within it, and Secret Society was going to be the gaming side. So the game was going to be called Secret Society, and then like the social side was going to be called AE. But recently I've decided that this whole app will be called AE, and Secret Society will be its own thing later. I have another idea for it.
that's really cool. Um, so I think, one of the questions I'll ask is leveraging the Hedera ecosystem and network for, I mean, I guess from your guys' end, why you guys, leveraging Hedera? What does it offer that other networks might not like in a negative way against other networks, but I guess why did you guys choose Hedera? What does it kind of offer up for what you guys are building?
Yeah, I've been in the Hedera ecosystem for some time because I was really interested in its the technology. You know, I've been in I've been in this space for some time. Like, yeah, Solomon, I used to watch your videos, and I know your name was XRP Owl before, and
It was.
uh, and I'm sure like you've seen those videos with Mike Maloney, gold and silver.
Yep.
That's actually probably how I discovered HBAR. And as like all of us, we're researching about these technologies and comparing it with other networks. I realized that like Hedera is one of the superior ones because like technologically it is, right. So that was the main reason that I wanted to build this platform on Hedera. Um,
I think
I
it's
like.
interesting. I think it's
Hmm?
interesting too. And I'm curious from your stance, like one of the things that I think sticks out about Hedera, and I didn't, sorry to interrupt. But I think that like the different pieces of architecture where it's not like, okay, I'm building on this other network, or I'm building on this network, and I have to take everything about the technology or nothing about the technology. I like that the network services are segmented. So I can leverage smart contracts if I want to, or I can leverage the consensus service or the token service. That I think is really unique for, I mean, for anybody that's building on the network, because everybody's going to want to use things a little bit differently, or maybe somebody doesn't use any part of one service. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like all of the these like NFTs that we're creating, they're um like EVM based, like Hedera offers the smart contracts in Solidity. So yeah, I mean Hedera offers different things, and we're trying to utilize as many of those things as possible.
I guess so. One of the things that's interesting to me, and I think like with the artwork that you guys have, is really, really cool. It's like I would love to see like almost like one of the initial things with NFTs is people were saying like, oh, it's going to be like kind of this gateway into these other experiences. And I don't think anybody's nailed that to the extent that it could be yet. I want to kind of ask, like, as far as like the token aspect, are you guys like using a different token? Are you guys using HBAR? Are you guys using USDC? Like, what is the plan there from a token standpoint on the platform?
Yeah, right now we are just using HBAR. That's the only coin you can transact in at this time, and um, we've done some cool things where you know, people are going to be able to deposit like ETH or USDC, whatever, and then they will get HBAR in return. So like, when building this platform, I really wanted to be as friendly as possible. So, I wanted to include that conversion thing, because if someone comes to our platform and, they're not in the Hedera ecosystem, but they have, ETH or Solana, now like they won't have to, go to some exchange and then try to get HBAR and then, put it onto our platform. Now they will just send their, Solana and they will get HBAR in return. And to facilitate this, we're using a service called Change Now.
Okay, cool. That's kind of leads me into my next question a little bit with some of the challenges I think that we've seen with social or gaming platforms and crypto. User familiarity, I guess really it's about like making the user experience simple.
Mhm.
For mainstream users who either A, may not be crypto native, or B, and I think equally important, might be on a different network that don't want to learn all the ins and outs of another network just to bridge over and play a game and all that stuff. So how are you guys tackling just the ease of, getting users on and without having to explain crypto to like, like
Mhm.
a technical paper? Like,
Yeah, like at the start of this project, I had lots of like unique ideas that are like, you can only do with like, Web3 and all of these like different things. But over time, as the project grew, I realized that I have to, step back a bit and really like look at it from like a very beginner's perspective, perspective of someone who's not even in crypto yet. So, and I had to make certain features of the platform a bit similar to what people are already used to. So, getting ideas from other social media platforms, X or Instagram, and then once you have users, after a couple months or year, whatever, and these people come to the platform and they learn all the ins and outs, then you can change some things and guide people into a different direction and be like, let's do this cool thing, this cool feature, and then they will be more they will like it. How should I say, like, they will be able to convert easier than if they were to come to the platform and it's like very new and they're like, whoa, like, what is this? I don't know anything. But to answer your question, um, we're using Privy for logging in, which is just email based login. You put your email, get a code in your email. That's it. You just sign in, and Hedera wallet is created. You just have to fund it. Yeah, that's one of the things we're doing to make it easy.
I'm curious. So I know that you guys is there an early adopter NFT that's coming or is out there in the wild right now? And maybe talk a little bit about what is happening tomorrow. I don't want to get into like utility, I get of an NFT. I mean, you can if you want to, but basically what is kind of the milestone of tomorrow? What does it represent for you guys? What does it mean for users tomorrow with this NFT or launch?
Yeah. Well, so an NFT will not be launching tomorrow. Um, the the launch NFT is not launching. Your people are going to be able to buy username NFTs and just then like use the platform, give feedback, and then in the upcoming weeks, we're gonna have the launch NFT. which is just like a poster that, you know, in the future you're going to be able to put it in your room in the game. But I mean, you can still, when it's like when it's an NFT, you know, you can do a lot of different things. Maybe maybe we'll have some function or purpose in the future for early adopters.
So tomorrow is usernames and kind of the early access to the testing out the platform, providing feedback, things like that.
Yeah, like the app will be out tomorrow, and people can post things, you know, message people, try it out.
Awesome, awesome. So I guess ramping down here, what's your guys' kind of long-term vision for AE? What would you consider success to look like, let's say a couple of years down the line? Because I know that looking at the site as I have it pulled up, Secret Society multiplayer launch looks to, by the way, I know how dangerous roadmaps are and dates, like especially in crypto. But what are you kind of looking forward to? What would you envision success to look like a few years from now from AE standpoint?
Yeah. So Secret Society was going to be the game. That's what the game was going to be called. So this is not up to date. It will be AE. But you know, about these dates, like I put dates in place so you know, we can be strict with ourselves. Like, you know, even in this first version, there are things that I wish I could like include, but it just didn't make the first version. But we still have to launch, because otherwise, you know, if you're so perfectionist, it's never going to launch. But what success would mean is just like having a community and people that use this platform that are excited about it. They interact with it every day. But then, like, you know, this AE app is gonna be one of the products of AE Labs. You know, what we're also working on is a digital dashboard. So if you go to homepage, if you go to exe.ai, like at the end, last month.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so this will be it's not out yet, but it will be like a digital, you know, dashboard where, you know, you have your calendar. Yeah,
Sorry.
where you have your calendar and you can, you know, chat with AI and put notes. Like, all of these ideas are originating from like a need, you know, like I want to have a platform like this. Like, you know, okay, we're using Google Meet and, you know, calendar apps, whatever, but these are not, I want to have a platform that's all of these are in one place. So over here, you're going to be able to have video meetings as well. Yeah, and like in this aesthetic, like in this WebPunk aesthetic. So
That's super
really,
cool.
like, the goal is to create these things that we're using every day in the WebPunk aesthetic. You know, I think
I
it's
like it
really
a
cool.
lot. This is really, really cool. Um, I mean, for somebody that is like running around like a chicken with their head cut off, like me, most of the time, I mean, I would legitimately like probably use something like this because it's, number one, it's a cool interface. If I could integrate this with, you know, even like Google Calendar or whatever somebody's using, and then
Yeah,
using
yeah,
the agentic AI to
yeah.
streamline all this.
Yeah.
I
Like,
like the
you
fact.
know,
Go ahead.
you're like, we have all these things that are like, you know, okay, we're giving the example of Google, like, or like, you know, I talked about this before. These companies are making their designs and, you know, UI designs and whatever for everyone. And, you know, in order for them to make it for everyone and for them to be appealing to everyone, the design must be neutral. So you can't have like, you know, you can have these like ASCII characters and like, you know, glitch effects, whatever, and like if, you know, 6-year-old person will not use it or will not understand. But we are really targeting a specific audience, and it's just cool. You know, I would rather use this than use Google Calendar.
What I also really like, and you said it earlier, and I think that this is a mistake. That's not a mistake. I think I see a lot of projects doing this where you have like people building with like kind of this perfected idea in mind, and they're leveraging new tech to do it. And I think that one of the things that I see people doing is like they spend a ton of time and they're like, well, when I launch this, it has to be like perfect and it has to have all these bells and whistles and all this other stuff. And then they launch it and then the users don't use it in the way that they perceive the users would use it. And then they almost lose the ability to pivot because they've spent so much time or so much money, I mean, frankly, into this like one thing. I would argue that like a lot of projects would be better almost like releasing a bare bones minimum viable product and seeing how people use it and then just adapting on the fly and just, you know, kind of just going at it. Like, so that's why I liked what you were saying is like, we need to launch it. Because if you don't launch it, then you can't get user feedback and you can't determine how people are going to be using it and you can't make it better. So I really like the thought process.
Honestly, like, you know, we could have launched an MVP like even earlier. You know, the MVP could have been just like a messaging app, whatever. But then like there needs to be like it can't be like, in my opinion, really like bare bones for what we're doing, because we want to give that like that ecosystem, that like community vibes. Yeah.
You want to give it an identity. I mean, I can tell very much so that you guys definitely have a unique identity with everything that I've kind of looked at today. And I think it's really cool. It's almost like a rabbit hole. Like even the artwork is like, okay, I get like this kind of, as you mentioned, WebPunk, but like this rabbit hole-y type aesthetic where I want to like dig in deeper, but I can actually do that through like engaging with stuff that you guys have right now, which is,
like
I think,
this is
cool.
I think this is what like crypto should be about, you know, like this I think this aesthetic represents crypto. Like it's not like crypto is like punk, you know? It's not like flat 2D images. It's
So I
about
didn't
like
know, and I'll tell you, like
that.
the one thing for me is I didn't know until you told me that I could click on and engage with these different things. Because like it's super cool, like clicking on this and then being like, oh, there's like so much more to this. Yeah, I thought it was just like, I thought these were just like NFTs, to be honest with you, or like pictures of the artwork.
These are supposed to be like, these are going to be different products.
Yeah, it's really cool. I really like it a lot. Well, awesome. Looking forward to seeing what you guys do in this space. And I know I kind of reached out last week to shotgun an interview, and I definitely appreciate you joining today. And yeah, I guess in closing here, I mean, we talked kind of about everything, but what are you most excited about for the future of AE, for the future of Hedera, or kind of crypto in general?
I'm just excited to see how people will use our platform. You know, as we discussed, like, you know, when creating a product, you have an idea of how that product will be and how the users will interact. You have that like route already in mind. But once the product is out, maybe that's not the case. Maybe people use it in a creative way that you've never expected before, and that's just really exciting to see and like experience that data, and you know, see what kind of things people will post or what kind of people the platform will attract. You know, is it going to be like, you know, photographers mainly posting things, or you know, digital artists, or I don't know, like authors, writers, people who write poems. It's all interesting and exciting.
100%. Well, I'll definitely mention for those interested, go to x.com/AEL, and you can dig down the rabbit hole at AE.com as well as AEL.org. And there's definitely a lot more, even from what I was kind of clicking on here today to kind of dig into. I wanted to also give a shout out to HashPack for helping to make these podcasts possible. And yeah, thank you, Kuzi, very much, and looking forward to seeing all of the stuff come out from AE. Thank you.
There's going to be a HashPack Easter egg in the game.
Well, you heard it here first. HashPack Easter egg as well. Thank you very much, Kuzi. Hopefully, we'll definitely bring you back on again in the future, and looking forward to seeing everything start tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you so much.